Got pics of my wife entering her dad's house with another man while her dad was out of town. My wife, female 25, myself and my stepson, who is 8 years old, are now residing with my mother-in-law while our new construction home is being constructed. We've been here since March and won't be able to leave until at least January at the earliest. A few nights ago, I received a Facebook message from an unknown sender informing me that my wife was having an affair with another man. At first, I wanted to dismiss the message, but then I wondered how they knew what I was talking about. It turned out to be my father in next-door law's neighbor towards the end of the story. He has surveillance cameras installed throughout his home. Photographs of her automobile in the driveway, along with another vehicle that I had never seen before, were supplied to me by him. My father-in-law was out of town at the time this was taking place. Because of the poor quality of the images, I can't make out much of what is being shown. They were at the residence for around 2 hours at a time together. As a result, I have no idea who this individual is. My wife has been acting a little strangely over the past 2 months. Her phone's password had been changed by her. She sleeps with her phone almost tucked below her pillow. She ceased communicating with me about her whereabouts. I've hit a couple big stumbling blocks in my attempts to use this knowledge against her. Because his real father has never been engaged in his upbringing, I love him more than she does, and after we were married, he began referring to me as his father. If I were to get a divorce, I would have no right to visit him, and he would most certainly be mentally scarred for the rest of his life as a result of the experience. I am a resident of her mother's home. Her basement is filled with my possessions, and I have nowhere to go. The question is, what should I do? Take a long-term approach. File for adoption so that I would have something to stand on in court if and when we divorce. That way, I'd have a better chance of seeing my stepson at the very least. Or do I simply detonate a nuclear weapon and destroy everything? Story 2. Married 8 years, 2 kids, wife cheated, complicated. I'll start by providing a high-level overview, followed by further specifics. My wife and I had been married for 8 years at this point. I am an active-duty military member that has relocated thrice in total. My wife was always the one who spoke negatively about others who strayed or did things similar to them, and she made it clear that she would prefer it if I divorced her before I ever cheated on her. I eventually did. Projection. Soon after we relocated to a new state and purchased a home, my wife started a new job, and I eventually discovered she was having an emotional affair with a coworker through text messaging and social media. I later discovered she was hanging out with the guy and had kissed him, and I saw messages in which she expressed her love for him. She first lied about everything until I forced the truth out of her, but she continued the affair for months after that. She mentioned divorce many times, as well as her moving out of the home to live in the neighborhood and splitting custody of the children, among other things. It was finally over, and I was hopeful that we would be able to carry on happily ever after once I began to restore trust. She claims that she took this action because I was inattentive of her and our children, as shown by my frequent video game playing and overall lack of assistance around the home. I confess that I've had issues, and that I could be a better person in certain ways. I'm well aware that I'm not perfect. This is a very simple summary of what she claimed to be her issues with me in general. Fast forward 2 years, and my wife is returning to our home state with her parents for 4 days while I am responsible for the children. She returned, and I had to go across the country for business for a week. When I returned, she informed me that she wanted a divorce because I had reverted to my old ways and she couldn't handle it any longer. She added that at least this time there wasn't another man involved. Later, we come to an agreement that she will take the children and return to her hometown for 6-9 months in order to think and regain her independence, as well as to be closer to her parents for support and to see them more, all in order to see if she would want to try to work it out before returning. And I agreed because I desperately wanted a chance to save this marriage. I still had not moved out when we went home for Thanksgiving, and it was a roller coaster of her exhibiting some love and debating over whether or not she really wants it to work, and the possibility that she would not move back after leaving was a constant worry for me. I was still attempting to trust her from the previous time when we returned from our vacation. My suspicions eventually got the better of me, and I conducted some investigation despite my feelings of being remorseful. My suspicions were confirmed when I discovered she was communicating with an old high school boyfriend, who she admitted to but refused to end the relationship and instead asked me to allow her to accompany my children back to the state in which they were both born, which is where the boyfriend resides. As soon as I found out about her boyfriend, I informed her that I didn't want her to go with him. I found out later that she had slept with him twice in one night, when I overheard her chatting to him late at night behind closed doors and confronted her about it. I even told her that even though I was unhappy with her, I still cared about her and wanted to work things out with her. What we have now is that she still wants to go back to complete the plan she had, but she also wants to have an open relationship with me while she is there, which I told her flat out was not possible while she was there. While all of this is going on, we talked divorce and whether or not we should pursue child custody. After learning some legal information, she has realized that she is unable to return to our home state to live with our children, and that she will most likely be required to live here as long as I am here, making it impossible for her to pursue her new relationship. She has taken this information to heart, becoming enraged and throwing tantrums. She tells me that we can't mend things while we're here and begs me to let her go back or, if we divorce, to allow her to keep the children with her. Informed her that if we divorced, she would not be able to take my children with her if she returned. I had the impression that she does not genuinely want to divorce, or she would have done it by now. She even said at one point that I had won, and that she would just continue to be married to me and be unhappy. All of this makes me question whether the issue is genuinely with me or if she is just finding excuses for herself in order to continue to do these horrible things against me. I'm thinking of divorcing her myself since she won't, but I truly don't want to damage my children's life, and I still adore my wife and our children. I want to wait until we divorce to see if she eventually gets over this guy like she did with the last one and comes to her senses, but I'm not sure how much longer I can take it. She talks to him 6 hours a day and texts him the rest of the hours she's awake with him, and she's basically told me that if we go back home or if I let her go, she'll cheat on me and it won't matter because the damage has already been done because I believe she is just emotionally befuddled and unsure of what she wants. But she believes the grass could be greener on the other side and is unwilling to risk everything to find out if it is. I've dropped 15 pounds in 3 weeks and haven't been able to eat or sleep. It's affecting me so badly that I'm worried and sick all of the time, and this has been going on since I discovered that there is another guy involved. Because this is already a rather large document, certain information have been omitted to save space. And if there is anything that needs to be clarified, I will certainly do so. What should I do in this situation? Would you rather let it play out and see if she eventually comes to her senses? Or would you rather file for divorce and move on with our lives despite the fact that it will be extremely complicated with 2 children, me still loving her, and the fact that I am active duty military to further complicate matters even further? Any responses or advice would be much appreciated, and I really mean it. I sincerely apologize for the length of this piece and hope that it does not deter anyone from continuing to read it. This is also my first ever Reddit post, so I had to ask how it went. I intended to publish this year, but I unintentionally put it to the r/infidelity subreddit first. I apologize if this is in violation of any regulations,